Hello and welcome to Setting the Stage, episode 53, Maia and Pinehurst Academy. All right, today I'm here talking with Maia about her campaign, the Pinehurst Academy. Am I saying that right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. All right, well, before we get into talking about your campaign and City of Mist and all that stuff, let's hear who Maia is outside of D&D and RPGs and all that.
Okay, outside of TTRPGs, I am a product designer or UI UX designer, for like
Okay.
digital stuff.
Hmm.
And I'm like a huge movie buff as well. I love learning about like filmmaking and things like that. I love reading. I currently just
Oh,
found
cool.
out about Brandon Sanderson this year, which I'm surprised because I'm a huge nerd.
Oh yeah, and there's the Cosmere RPG is coming out.
Yeah, it's like at 20 million. No, I'm kidding. But it's like huge. The Kickstarter is doing, and I played a one shot, but I was like, oh, I don't want another crunchy system. I think I'm just gonna stick to the books.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just got into a couple of his series, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm like, I wish I found it earlier. But yeah, so I'm a big reader. And I have my little dog that I take care of, my daughter.
Mm.
I have a little Maltipoo dog, and so we're on the trail a lot. So that's basically my life. It's pretty simple. I love a routine, and I have that kind of personality that likes to do that same thing every single day. I know it seems
Uh-huh.
boring, but I like it. Like I'm the type of person that can eat the same thing for like 4 years straight. You know?
What's your food for that?
Oh my gosh. Probably just chicken and rice, some form of chicken and with rice.
That's very versatile. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's I change it up every now and then, but and I have like the taste buds of a literal toddler, so I can't like hot Cheetos are hot for me. Yeah, but I still
Right.
like them. Like, I
Baby mouth. That's what I've heard it called before.
yes, exactly. Like I can I watched the that chicken show on YouTube where they eat the hot wings, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, I
Yeah.
would die at the first one. Like
Yeah.
I'd be dead. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And I'm a huge like musical theater nerd as well. Like at the back of my wall in my office is just there's like 10 or 20 movie posters, and yeah, so just always been like a
Okay.
nerdy kid growing up and all that good
Okay.
stuff.
Cool. Have
Yeah.
you done any like sort of performance art production when you were in high school or before?
From this, well, I get yeah, from sixth grade to when I graduated high school, I was in every band formation that you can think of. So marching band, symphonic, and
Hmm.
jazz. And yeah, and I played a whole bunch. I'm very like musically inclined. I can pick up instruments very quickly. So that's a huge, huge part of my life. And I miss it. I wish like if I had the money, I would take classes again, just like privately. It was so
Hmm.
so much fun. It's very fulfilling.
Yeah. I never did music, but yeah, it is a very cool hobby.
Yeah, yeah. People ask that question, like if you could go back in time, I don't like that question because I want to go to the future. But I
Hmm.
would go back and like buy tickets to go see Hans Zimmer in Prague. And
Hmm.
I bought that concert on Amazon Prime, and it was just mind blowing. Like every piece of like all his music is amazing, and but yeah,
Yeah. No, he's really good.
oh yeah, so much good stuff. But yeah.
And you mentioned nature trails. Do you live near like a forest or something?
Near near a forest. I am in Denver, and so there's just trails galore here, and everybody
Okay.
has a dog, and we all love our dogs in the trails here. Fortunately, it's about a 5 minute walk, and then there's like one of the major trails here, like that goes for miles and miles and miles. I'm so fortunate that I live really close to it. And so that's the one we walk in the daytime, and then we have our night walks because I'm a night owl, and so like at 11 p.m. we'll go on a night walk through the neighborhood for like
Wow.
another
Okay.
35, 40 minutes. But yeah.
That's a long walk for a multi-poo.
You haven't seen her energy levels.
Okay. I believe you.
Yeah, no, I think we do 2 walks a day, and I think she probably needs a three.
Okay. Wow. That's a high energy pup.
Yeah, but it gets me out of the house because I am a homebody, and I'll be like, nope, we got to get outside. We got to walk. We got to, because if you asked me, I would just be inside all the time.
Yeah, I get the feeling.
Yeah.
So how'd you get started playing TTRPGs?
Oh, okay. So I had kind of like everybody else, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons had been in like the cultural zeitgeist, and I have always heard about it, but never had opportunities to for it to be introduced to me. I learned about it last year in March of 2023. And then once it was
Wow.
with the D&D game, like at a work thing, we were on a work trip and there was like a breakout sessions where you could just, plan groups can go do stuff. And there's someone who was hosting the D&D game and I thought, okay, you know what? I've heard about it all these years. Let's just give it a try. And then I had so much fun. The DM just gave me a pre-gen. I had no idea what I was looking at. I didn't know anything, literally nothing at all. And then I had to leave early, and then I think I rolled a nat 20 or something like that because I like rolled and I was like, oh, I gotta go. I'm late for this dinner. So I rolled, and then everybody cheered, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. This is awesome though. So I was like, oh gosh, I gotta keep playing. Oh my God. And then I found out about Critical Role and then Dimension 20 and like a few other actual plays. And I was like, oh my God, there's this whole world that I had no idea about. Um, and now like my YouTube is just flooded with it all the time. I think like
Uh-huh.
the YouTube algorithm just knows what you're interested in. So before it was like musicals and like tech because I like watching tech videos.
Uh-huh.
And then as soon as you like search one thing that's TTRPG, the YouTube's like, oh, you're interested in this? Well, how about this and this? And then so that led to me accidentally joining a Pathfinder game, and then and then I was like, okay, D&D, Pathfinder, they're cool, but I think I like role play a lot and like narrative type things. So I was like, there has to be more because I found Pathfinder, so there has to be more, right? And then
Uh-huh.
so I looked and I was like, oh, okay, there's this thing called City of Mist. Oh my God, so cool. It's like I learned that I liked urban fantasy if I am gonna play fantasy, and I like modern settings and cities and stuff like that. And so I found City of Mist, and then I was like, oh wow. It was kind of like the shoe finally fit, because for a while it was just like fitting a circle peg inside of like a square hole, and I was trying to make D&D fit. I mean, I still have one game, but for me as a player, I was like trying to make it fit and just couldn't find that right thing. And then I found City of Mist, and I was like, oh God, this is awesome. This is for me. This is me. Since then, I've tried like 20 to 30 more systems, and I'm finding that I like Free League Publishing, a lot of their games, a lot of Year Zero Engine games.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's been a little over a year, but because of my obsessive personality, once I like something, I latch onto it like a like a parasite and just like suck the life out of it and like
I Yeah, I was shocked when I looked at your survey. Like one of my notes here was
yeah,
like you've been playing for a year and a half, but your list of systems that you're familiar with is like
large.
huge. It's longer than mine.
Yeah, I'm just very interested in other systems. I know some people will kind of just like find one and stick with it forever, but I'm like, there's just so much out there. And I think that's just part of my personality that just likes to meet new people, travel, go to different countries, meet different cultures, and just like try different things. Except
Mhm.
for food. Um, but
Just chicken and rice.
but yeah, I like to try new things. So yeah, so that's why I've tried so many. Because it's like it's like dating a lot of the aspects of tabletop games, like finding new players, finding DMs. It's like you try and try and
Mhm.
try until you find that right fit. So I found that is the case like when I'm looking for players, or if I'm looking for a new game. Maybe there is something that fits even better than City of Mist. Maybe there's like a kids on bikes game or kids on brooms. So I want to try a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, weren't they coming out with like some new one that was more like less urban? I guess that's not what you're going for, but
Less urban. Oh, for yeah, the company Son of Oak who makes City of Mist.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I they have a new Kickstarter. It's finished already, but it's called Legend in the Mist, and it's really,
Right, that
really
was it.
like it's very the vibes of like Princess Mononoke. Like the journey is really what it's all about. It's not about fighting. It's about what you learn along the way, the friends you made along the way. And it's really like, oh, okay, you're leaving. It's like when Frodo leaves the Shire, and they had a demo game, and I ran that, and it really does feel like that. And it made me realize, like, oh, okay, I don't dislike fantasy. I dislike the crunchiness and how D&D it's mostly just like combat based. And I think that's what I wasn't vibing with. It was just like all the character sheet every time you level up, it's all about okay, what cool new thing can you do now to kill something or hurt
Yes, it
somebody.
is very
Yeah.
focused around violence. I agree.
Yeah, and so, and not that I'm against violence per se. Hey, sometimes it's needed. You got to teach people a lesson sometimes. But I think that is a. I think I was like, it's just like 90% of it was focused, and then there's just so much homebrew stuff and third-party materials that are like, hey, how to make your game more narrative based, how to speed up combat, and so many videos because combat is the bane of my existence in 5e. And so, yeah, and I was like, dang, trying to find all these alternatives, but I think I think the system's just maybe not for me, probably. And so when I
Hmm.
tried Legend in the Mist, and I was like, oh yeah, exactly. Like I like fantasy. I love Lord of the Rings. I read all the books. I read The Hobbit. It's not that I don't like fantasy. I was realizing I was like, okay, yeah, it's for sure the system. But also, I have one D&D game. It works for me because the players are so good. Like if I had just like horrible players and I was playing D&D 5e, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm done. Sorry. I got to go."
Yeah.
But the players are so cool. We have a fun time. It's kind of like our beer and pretzels game. I'm running Odyssey of the Dragon Lord, so it's a module. I kind of, I do some light prep and then we run through the module. We do a lot of role play. I let them know beforehand like, "Hey, I'm cutting out a lot of the a lot of the fight combat encounters."
Yeah, I'm playing through it myself right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, there is a lot of fighting in it that's just like
Yeah, we don't there's
this
like
isn't it's not really narratively relevant. Like why are we bothering
they
with
just
that?
yeah, and there's a lot of suggestions like, hey, if you guys are traveling, here's all these random encounters where people will try to kill them. I'm like, we don't need that. We don't need.
Man, yeah, I got rid of random encounters in my game. It's just
Yeah, I really don't like it because I'm very much like narrative based and story building. Like, if the fight's not going to move the story forward, I'd rather not have it. But yeah, it's only been yeah, kind of like a year and a half, but every single day, and I talked about it in my podcast with my sisters, but they know how much, and my mom knows like how much I'm obsessed with it. Like every single day, I've watched so many videos about how to DM, how to be a better GM, game master. I bought a lot of books, so I'm just super invested in it, and I'm glad. I wish I would have found it earlier, but I'm glad I found it at all, and I don't see myself like getting tired of it anytime soon. And so, yeah, I'm just having just a fun time. I'm so glad I found just tabletop gaming in general.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So you transitioned pretty quickly from like
Mhm.
player at that one game you were doing into being a game master. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was like I was playing D&D because there and then I found out there's a lot of online gaming. I
Mhm.
think I don't know how, but I was just doing my usual Google searching and then I found Start Playing, uh which is that like professional DM website.
Yeah, they were doing a big like advertising push when you were that's not when you were starting, I think. So that might have been how you found it.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe. So I played a lot of games through that, and then I just found I don't know how, but like maybe it was through Reddit or something, or but then I just found out there's like a whole bunch of Discord servers like full of people who run games. So I just found Discord servers, and I continued to play, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to run because there's certain things that I would do this way, and I think that's how a lot of us start. We're like, I want to do it this way. I think
Mhm.
this way would be better.
Right.
And so my first ever game, it was that game made by Matt Colville. I recommend that get that first kind of like simple one shot he made. I ran that and I ran it for DMs because in my mind I was like, oh, okay, let me run it for people who do this themselves and then I want to get tips from them after. And then so I ran it and then I got feedback from them. But yeah, so that was my first game. It was running for DMs and I recommend everybody run for a group of DMs because first they want to play and second they can give you some good feedback about, and it's no pressure because I think they understand like they started where you are too. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, always recommend.
Yeah.
And you can also I was like, if I don't know something, I can ask the DMs because if you play with new players and you're like, oh dang, how does this work again? They might not know either.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of groups that end up having like misconceptions about the rules or sort of the social etiquette for gaming as well
Yeah.
that comes from just not really having a guide.
Yes. And I would also say I read through the player's guide or the DMG? No. It's just not.
With the
I've
number of systems you've looked at, I would be surprised if the answer was yes.
it's just that, I like the City of Mist books. Those are very, very interesting because I just think the way that it's written out, because it's not so focused on number crunching and combat, it's just like a good read to me. Like I like reading books, so it's just like, okay, this is the city, and this is how everybody gets their powers, and this is how it started. This is the nexus of it all, and here are the key players and the power players, and it's just like so interesting. This is how you build up mysteries and you know uh, connect everything and all that good stuff. And so those books are just
Right.
really, really interesting. So, but I don't know if I'll ever read the DMG or because there's just so much good third party stuff also. So,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I'll ever read what Wizards of the Coast puts out.
Well, yeah, for the DMG, I have felt like the Wizards of the Coast one isn't necessarily the best option. There are plenty of third-party options
Yeah,
for like how to GM any game, really,
exactly,
that
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, end up being more useful.
In terms of like rules and stuff, I learned a lot through being a player. And then you just learn along the way as you're DMing. If something is not working, you look it up after, and then you learn it that way. Um, but yeah, there's no big. You don't need to know the books in and out. It does help, I guess, but you don't need it to be a DM,
Right.
in my opinion.
Well, I do want to get to your setting, but I also
Yeah,
wanted to explore the City of Mist system because your setting is very closely tied to like the sort of
yeah,
defined like how this game works within that system.
yes.
Um,
So the City of Mist has its own setting, I guess. It doesn't have like an official name. They just call it the city, and you could just rename it whatever you want to. And if there's something that's not there that you need, you add it in yourself, which is part of the fun. But
mhm.
the creators and the editors here, they're just so, in my opinion, so creative. Like a lot of the stuff I don't want to change because I was like, I don't know how I can make this better or more interesting. It's just so cool. All their ideas. So the way that City of Mist works is you have a normal person uh, who is imbued with powers of a legend, a myth, a concept. So you can be a janitor who has the abilities of Thor or Nike, goddess of victory. It doesn't have to be like Greek or Roman things like that. It could literally anything. Like I had one player who was the concept of the final girl in horror films. And so she had all the powers of like you just think like, oh, this girl, like how is she still alive? Like how are you the
Okay.
only one who made
I mean,
it?
that's kind of the idea of like Buffy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it is like it's powered by the apocalypse and Monsters of the Week is kind of like Buffy. Monster of the Week is another system by that uses power by the apocalypse system.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and Monster of the Week is kind of like Buffy. Like, I didn't watch Buffy too much, but I think the concept is like there's like a new thing every week, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That you figure.
Supernatural, if you've seen that's almost the same show.
Right, right. So it's kind of like that, but as a TTRPG. City of Mist is more noir investigation based. You can have neo noir. There's a few, but you can be placed
Okay.
in like the 20s, the 50s, and you can really be like what's his name in the that Dark Spider-Man in the first Nicolas Cage
Spider Noir.
Spider
Yeah.
Noir. Yes, just imagine that you could play that in City of Mist. But it's really cool that way. So you can be absolutely if you could think of anything, you could be Hurricane Katrina, and then your powers kind of amplify that. So like the final girl, she's just hard to kill. So one of your abilities is that. Or you find like ways to dodge things, in the nick of time, just in some way you made it. And so that's the concept, the basic concept of City of Mist.
hmm
And so,
Okay. Yeah, I was curious about
yeah,
like how defined the archetypes were, because in your survey you
yes,
mentioned like sort of mythological figures,
yeah,
and I was curious about like sort of modern mythologies like like superheroes, like like you mentioned, like Spider-Man
Yeah,
is a sort of modern mythological character.
a good one that they used that they were heavily inspired by was Daredevil. And so you can make that. They even have an example, like they made out a character sheet for Matt Murdock, and then his mythos was Daredevil. You have your logos, which is your mundane side, and then your mythos, which is the magic mystical side. And so his
Hmm.
logos was lawyer, mythos
Right.
Daredevil, and then so you have there's no archetypes really that you choose. There are some games that you choose archetypes, like in Year Zero engine games. You choose like the veteran, the runaway kid, the outsider. It's not really like
Hmm.
that. You choose these things called theme books, and these theme books can be shaped in any way you want, but they have so there's one that's the esoterica theme book if you want to be like more witchy. There's one about having your own group of I'm not gonna say what I'm not gonna say what I was thinking. But you can have your own group. There's theme books you could choose to build out your character about who they are.
Okay.
My setting is a mix of the official setting for City of Mist, and then I created because we're playing. The year is 2030, and so
Okay.
we're playing. I built this kind of outside city that's next to the main one. The city's kind of like Gotham. You could think like Gotham or Chicago. That's the main setting. And then I did
Okay.
like this city or fancy town on the outskirts where this private, like high-end private academy sits. And so then that's kind of like my mini setting within the official one. And so that's kind of how they work together.
Okay. So you're still sort of attached to the official setting with the Gotham-esque place.
Yeah, because I really, really like it. The city has there's a thing called the mist, and the mist is the thing that kind of blurs the lines between reality and the supernatural. And so there are
Hmm.
normal people who don't have those abilities. And in order for like they're called rifts, people who have those abilities, they're called rifts. In order for you to like not be seen or if you do something mystical or crazy and so normal people don't notice it, the mist covers that up. And so and it kind of it affects people and it makes them kind of have this logical reasoning for what they're seeing or what they just experienced. So if someone has like fire breath or something and they're breathing fire and there's normal people who see it, their mind will be like, oh, he just had like a fire blower or something. I forgot what they're called. But like their minds just
Fire breather.
yeah. Yeah, the thing that Elon Musk
Yeah, but they're
tells.
using alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah, it's maybe one of those things, something like that. So there's the mist that covers it up, and I like to keep those concepts. I mean that's why those characters can do what they do because you
Hmm.
can't just it's not like Marvel Comics where there's these superheroes and everybody knows they're superheroes and can see the amazing things they do. A lot of this stuff is hidden, and so I like that. So
Yeah, it sounded very similar to Percy Jackson. It uses like
yeah,
the same thing where there's this mist that covers everything up, and like the exact same concept actually.
yeah, exactly. And there's this cool society. There's these gatekeepers that are basically the men in black. If anything, if there's any rift that gets too out of control or too crazy, or it starts to really, really mess up the flow of things, gatekeepers come in and they have these abilities to like wipe people's memories. They really are the men in black with like the little thing that like they take the little pen that erases the memory. Um, but yeah, they're really cool. They're like the FBI of the Mist or the CIA.
Okay.
Yeah, they're these secret operators and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I haven't introduced them yet, but maybe they'll come in if the player starts acting crazy. Um, but yeah, so I really like the main concepts from the original setting. So I use it and then I just build off of it.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of people do that, of course.
Yes, exactly.
Um, so you said 2030 for like the time of your setting, and this is on Earth
It
or
is.
maybe DC Earth if it's Gotham. Um,
Yes, it's on Earth. It's mine is I've called it Century City, and it's basically Chicago. I've just kind of shaped Chicago. I like that city. It's right near a river. It's a large city that has everything you need, which is what the original setting has, and has these lots of districts and it's very diverse. Yeah.
Yep.
So I chose
Got
to
a
shape it after
big
Chicago.
lake if you want to do something in the water.
Exactly. Yeah. And I figure there's rich people in Chicago, and there's probably private schools there. So why not?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then the kind of rich, affluent town, that's all fiction. So everything
Okay.
on my
Well,
end
there
was.
are plenty of those around Chicago as well.
Is there? Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 I mean, yeah, America's huge. So
Yeah,
I'm
of
sure
course.
I was gonna do New York because New York definitely has it too. But I like Chicago. I was like, let's do Chicago.
New York also has a different flavor to it because
Yeah, yeah,
it's so much huger and it's like this sort of international hub, whereas Chicago is more like a domestic hub,
yeah. And I didn't want to
if
do
that makes
something.
sense.
Yeah, I didn't want to do something on the coast either.
Mhm.
For this game specifically, there is a cyberpunk game that I'm gonna run in the future that's gonna be like it's called New San Francisco. So
Uh-huh.
because Son of Oak also has Otherscape, which there's their cyberpunk version. And so I tested it out, and they have more like pre-made cities. But they also have stuff where you can make your own. Like they have tables where you can create. It's really, really good. But I like the way they structured out New San Francisco, and I'm from California and kind of near that area, so I was like, yeah, let's just do something I know. But yeah, so I chose Chicago because I like that it's not sitting on a coast.
It's funny you say that because to me it kind of is.
Is it?
I mean, it's on the Lake Michigan, which is
Right.
enormous,
I mean,
but
yeah, I
it
guess
has
so.
it has beaches.
Well, okay, I guess what I meant was I didn't want it to be California or New York.
And then that's fine. And
Yeah, yeah.
it is a different kind of coast because it is internal, like it's a lake. It doesn't have
Yeah, what I meant was like there's no like huge international airports that go out into the wider world.
right. Yeah, like I said, it's a domestic hub. O'Hare is not yeah. We're on the same page.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, there we go.
Okay. So you've got that's the city that they're in,
Hmm.
and it's powered by the Apocalypse game, so it's got the mixed success thing for how that works. There isn't anything really out there for how it's like actions are being resolved, right?
It's really just like it's six or less is a failure, six to 7 to 9 is mixed success, and then 10 and up is full success.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm familiar with that, and
Yeah, very
listeners should be as well at this point.
yeah, very basic core mechanic for PPTA.
Yeah, and for a lot of like new narrative focused games as well.
Yes, I found I want to look more into that because there are a lot of narrative focused games that are just using D6s. So, and I'm like, there's something about the D6.
Well, it's still like some of them are doing that, but it's still, and I guess powered by the apocalypse is too. It's just using 2d6.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of narrative focused games are still following that same idea of failure, mixed success, full success, and just having different ways of adjudicating how you reach that point.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody has their own spin. Even City of Mist has its own. But I think they all like you could play City of Mist, and then if you want to play Masks or what are some if you want to play Monster of the Week, you'd have it's an easy transition for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's talk about your little rich suburb, I guess.
Listen, I was like, what is something that I have no experience with at all? Extreme rich private schools. Why not? But I've always wanted to do a school-based campaign. I was heavily inspired by the game that Abria Iyengar ran with on Dimension 20. She ran, was it of Mice and Mischief or something like that? I forgot the name, but it's
I don't watch it, so I'm
oh
not gonna help you here. Sorry.
oh okay no sorry, it's Misfits and Magic. Sorry,
Okay.
sorry to everyone who knew, and it took me a second. But yeah, so I was like, oh, this is so cool. I've always wanted to do like, I was gonna use that system as well. She uses kids on brooms. And I was like, oh, this would be
Mhm.
cool. I want to do this. Then I was like, well, you could do anything with City of Mist. I could do that too. And so I kind of started putting some ideas down. Um, with some premises, trying to see like, okay, so who's the big bad? Is there a big bad? Do I want it to be more sandboxy or more linear? Just getting all those ideas down. And then just trying to figure out the intricacies of how the student life is going to be, the campus dynamics, different little mysteries here, little hooks there. There's a section. I just had a custom map made, which was really fun and really exciting to show the players
Is this of the school or of the town?
of the school. Yeah, it was a
Okay.
campus map. I reached out to someone who like a map maker,
Uh-huh.
and then I like the ugliest, roughest outline, and he was like, no, no, that works. And I was like, sorry, it's like chicken scratch, but like this is where this is, this.
Uh-huh.
And we made it. It just it looks so so good. And he made a night version. But yeah,
Oh, that's great.
yeah. So, um, yeah, that was fun. I have this whole document where I have like the table of contents, and here's about Pinehurst Academy. I even made. I'll tell you what I made, because I don't know why this was fun for me, but I made the application process, what that looks like. I don't even the players like didn't even go through it, but I was like, I want this to be realistic. Maybe they might ask how it. There's academic info, which goes over like the calendar, orientation, and different clubs, and what time, what week that. And actually, that has come in really handy, actually, because they're all like, okay, so when can we apply for these different sports and stuff? I did the I did the
You've
annual
got a full calendar here.
I did the annual expenses and financial breakdown. I did share that with them because I was like, you guys, this is how rich everybody has to be in order to join. It's very much like all only millionaires send their kids here. I really wanted to get that across, just to show them like this is how much everything costs, right?
Right.
I created the dean of the students, and it's all like family based. Like I made the history for the founder. I think it was 300 years ago, and the clubs, who the senior class president will be. There's a school app that I created. I was like, okay, so what if somebody gets in trouble, or what would people do at the school if someone gets in trouble? So I made
Oh,
that outline
mhm.
as well.
Yeah, the progressive discipline.
Yeah, like the disciplinary actions. Yeah.
Hmm.
I made the security measures because that's important too. Like people,
Yeah.
because the kids stay there at the school. I just created a lot of stuff that's like, how can we make this the most realistic as possible? Because that's how I like to play my games. Like as I'm GMing, I'm like, if you're rude to this person, do you think they're just gonna sit and take it?
Uh,
No, not, and I don't like to do that. I like to play NPCs as realistic as possible and not be like, well, we're playing a game, and you could be super rude and disrespectful and like, no, 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 no. People are gonna be mean.
yeah.
People are gonna like these are real people, like NPCs. I embody them as real people. So that's why I was like, okay, security measures, make that real. The academy, like the dormitory layout, key NPCs, school culture, like what is that like just in general?
Did you come up with like songs that they like? Every
Oh,
school
that's a
has
good
like different songs.
idea. Hold on. The like what is it called? Like the school chant or something?
The school cheer.
The school cheer?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they are. Thank you for that. I wrote that down. That's the one thing.
All right.
Listen, I'll credit you at our next session.
All right.
Um,
Great.
yeah, I created like the school culture and the overall vibes. There's the elite who are like the rich of the rich.
Hmm.
There's scholarship students, so the school only accepts 10 scholarship students each year. It's like a full ride scholarship.
What's the class size for a comparison for that?
Oh, there's about 400 students total.
Per class or or total?
Total, yeah.
Okay, so 10 would mean that 10% of a class is, because I'm assuming it's a four-year school.
It is, yeah, it's a 4 year school. And so it's a 10, you can be accepted into in a year. So there could be like four scholarship students in freshman year, two in junior year. They
Okay.
accept new ones each year. Let's say you transferred over from like a public school your senior year or something like that.
Okay.
And they're called They're called discos because the kids there think of them as discount students.
Okay.
And so the kind of, what is it? Not a slur, but it's like that. It's like mudblood in like Harry Potter.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's just it's very mean and rude. And I created it not because I wanted to be mean or anything like that, but it's just kind of like another part of life that I think is real. Like people would come up with names or just
It
like
wouldn't be a
derogatory
school
terms.
without bullying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We could definitely play a game where there's none. But I do like that kind of, I like some type of friction and I like to challenge the players and see like, okay, what are you going to do if someone calls you that or your friend is one? I have three players who chose to be rich students and then one who chose to be a disco. And I'm like, are you sure? Okay. He's like, yeah, no. That he likes that challenge. And so I threw that out to him. Yeah, so they're often like marginalized and targeted and maybe looked down upon, but they are exceptional students. Like you don't get in without being like top of your class wherever you came from. But yeah, so I created all that and that had such a good time, and I'm gonna have a good time creating that school cheer now. And created the weekend activities, and it was just fun. I think it's fun.
Wow.
I think it's fun to create like something that I probably will never experience. I mean, I'm way out of school, but um yeah, I just like the part of like fantasy or something like that where you're just like, yeah, we can be as rich as we want. Like this is our game. We can do whatever we want. I can create this school and make it ridiculously expensive and add in all this cool stuff, especially in like the dorms and have laundry facilities and like expensive common areas. And in each room, there's a mini fridge and a shared flat screen TV, and there's climate control, there's internet, like
And
Wi-Fi.
if
And I'm like, yeah, I'm having fun. This is awesome. You guys like this is a rich school, so you have like the best of the best amenities and like the lunches. I got inspired by like High School Musical. Their
uh
cafeteria was like, I was like, what? No way.
their cafeteria made no
I was
sense. It
like,
was like two tables.
I was like, what? This is a legitimate like Google type food court. And so I got inspired by that, just like how those big tech companies like provide lunches for their employees.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I got inspiration from that, and then creating, oh my gosh, I got really granular creating like the bathroom features as well. Creating like private showers, creating the time limit. You know, if you ask me why I went this granular, I couldn't tell you. I think one night I was just going off. There's the
Oh
private
wow.
stalls, the additional shower facilities in the gym area. I don't know why. Just this is just for me, okay? Um,
I mean, if you've got the campus map, I guess you can get more granular with like building maps.
exactly. Yeah.
You got the emergency exits labeled on the map and all that.
Oof. Okay. Did not get that detailed though. That's a good one though. Yeah, and you could just do so much. There's like the shower reservation system through the school app. Everybody,
You gotta reserve it through an app.
yes. I was like, how are we gonna be organized if everybody's like the showers? There's automated like sanitation spray after each use.
Oh wow.
Yes, yes. And once that's complete, the next student can come in. Um, yeah, and there's little pins that every year has. They also are like, I'm not saying the school is tracking them, but they are like kind of trackers as well, and they're kind of like IDs. They're like,
I mean, for a rich kid school, like I kind of get that though. Like if you go off campus, they might want to know about it, and that would be a way to have that system.
yeah, so it's kind of like a key fob, and so it also stops like the guys from going into the girls' dorm or something like that. So like you can't you to get into most buildings, you need to have that on you, and if you can't go into certain places, it stops you. Or
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, if you go off campus, and so that's part of like the weekend activities and that I created. Like there's like these big like party buses, like black SUV high end that like There's like 5 buses. They run every 30 minutes to take people into the town proper because the school is set at the very edge of town. So you have to drive in, you know. Um, but yeah, well, as I was saying, I got very granular about very specific things, especially the
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you about the shower system. I don't know. I was having a good time that night.
All right. Well, yeah, wherever your inspiration takes you, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's just
Sometimes you come up with your ideas in the shower, and sometimes it's an idea about
about
showers,
the
right?
shower. Yeah, in the shower about showers. Oh, a lot of my ideas come when I'm walking my dog. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's like a shower thought." A lot of them
Hmm.
come when I'm walking the dog, and then I'll pull up my phone real quick and then note that down.
Yeah, it is easier to write the ideas down when you're walking the dog instead of in the shower.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And I mean, yeah, I have both my hands. I walk her off leash because she's mega trained.
Hmm.
But yeah, so when I'm
That's good.
walking, I see all those. So much stuff just pops up.
Man, there's a lot to unpack there. You did so much.
I
That's crazy.
Yeah, I did a lot, and I don't know if it's a lot because I like it, so it doesn't feel. It feels like the right amount, I guess. And I guess I just forgot about the school cheer, um, which is surprising. Thinking about the other stuff that I created. Um, but yeah, and I wanted to also create like the mysteries connected to it, like rumors and legends.
Hmm.
So it's celebrating its 300th year, the tercentennial jubilee, it's gonna be called. And I'm like, gosh, should something
Right?
happen there? Like, should I don't know, some type of ghost of the founder? I don't know. There's rumors about the dean's twins and stuff like that.
So each of the players are a rift, is that right?
Yes, you are a rift if you are powered by some type of like mythological, mystical entity. Yeah.
And I guess I'm also curious, since these are children,
Yeah.
how you bring in like their parents into this. I know they're at like a private like stay there
Yeah.
sleepover academy, so their parents aren't necessarily always featured, but is that something that you've thought about for the this process?
Yeah, there's going to be a parents' day or like, that week when parents come
Hmm.
to just see how everything's going. So there's that and they'll come then. And a lot of the game is kind of it asks the question about like what what is most important to you? And a lot of their stuff was just like I don't want to disappoint my parents. Like the for the players or like for this kid, he has these high expectations. And so a lot of it is just like making sure that they're on the straight and narrow while they're at school. And so they've been fine now. So been no reason really to bring in the parents unless it's like a special event. So nobody has been like just a horrible bad kid.
Hmm.
And all the parents are very very interesting. Very like interesting. Like they give me their ideas for the parents, and then I bring them to life as NPCs.
Uh-huh.
And then also there's that school app, so parents have access to that, like the grades and everything, any disciplinary actions. It's all through that and email. It's kind of similar way I think parents are contacted through email and calls if anything goes wrong. But
Okay.
for the most part, parents are kind of in the background.
One of the things that might be fun for that, and I've done this sometimes for my campaign,
Mm,
is having um okay, so like player number one
yeah.
is never going to interact with player number two's parents, right? Because
Mm,
that's just not something that really happens within this context.
yeah.
So instead of having you role play player number two's parents, you could have player number one role play player number two's parents whenever there's an interaction like that.
Interesting. I have had I've done something I've just started doing something similar like that. And like I like to have, I like to give characters their own scene. And so instead of having the other players like just kind of wait and watch, I'm like
Hmm.
you be this NPC in the scene. Like you be the barkeep.
Right.
And then you be this, this, and this. And so everybody's kind of like a part of the scene as well. I just started doing that and
Hmm.
it was great. And I was like, I need to start doing this more. Is it
Yeah,
something
yeah,
similar to
exactly.
that?
Yeah, it's where you're still trying to bring all the players into what's happening,
Mm,
and you can still give them like notes on what they're supposed to do as the NPC.
right, right, right.
and then they can still be involved in it. It's kind of fun to watch as a GM
It
as well.
is
And
interesting, and it's kind of like challenging their improv um chops. I'm like, yeah,
mhm.
you guys got this. You can say whatever. I've been wanting to challenge more of my players for improv and role play and just giving them idea and just rolling with it, as us GMs have to do a lot. And so
Well, it's also fun as like a player, like, in one section you're playing
something
the
else.
disco child who everyone is like picking on. And then you also get to play like the parent of the person who's picking on you. It's sort of you could be like a bullying parent that's like getting
It
back
just
at them sort of from a player perspective,
yeah.
not from character perspective. But that dynamic becomes really fun.
Yes. Yes. I'll write that down. That's an interesting idea.
Okay, so it's a hoity-toity private school where everyone's
Yeah.
rich except for the discos. So I think that's a fairly common like idea that people are used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess going more into like the wider part of the setting. So there's like rifts that are people that have power from some sort of mythological concept. Um,
Uh-huh.
are you also bringing in other things from mythology, like sort of monsters would be an obvious one, but also like sort of like there's the sort of Greek rules of hospitality. Like, are
Oh.
you bringing anything like that?
Um. No, not unless somebody was powered by a myth that really cared about that.
Okay.
So maybe there's like someone who's powered by like Julius Caesar or something, or Cleopatra. Someone or someone, yeah, like I said, unless it'd have to be someone who really cared about it. It's not something that, other than that, because this is the real world, or it's like a maybe it's like a coven that could come in and they follow these sets of rules. So
Okay.
that could be it could be that in that sense, but it's mostly just the people of history that are coming in, but not really their those concepts of like Greek hospitality and stuff like that, and or even like the laws of like respect and hierarchy and like Asian cultures
Mhm.
too.
Yeah, that'd be another.
Yeah, so I haven't really done anything like that, but that's an interesting question. I haven't thought about that before. But I don't really see it come into play.
Okay.
Mhm.
And the sort of other side of that question, like, are you bringing in monsters and other things like that?
Um, Here's the thing, because they're kids, I don't want to kill them. Um,
I mean, there's other sorts of mythological creatures,
yeah.
like a leprechaun, that comes in and steals all their left shoes before gym class.
That's funny. But no, not yet. The biggest thing, because that is something that I'm like, okay, so how can I have them use their abilities, and defend themselves in different situations? And I was thinking about, Harry Potter still had, like, that first movie, they still battled a troll. So I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, so how can I organically get them to a basement or something and have like these ghosts attack them? Yeah, I've been thinking about that type of stuff, the stuff that makes sense in the narrative. There hasn't been too many moments where it's like introduced itself, and I've made encounters. There was one where they were doing like river cleanup, and then there was like a gang, like these guys that were sleeping on the side of the river, and then they had they had woken up the guys. They had walked up on them, and then those guys thought that the kids had seen something that they weren't supposed to see, and then so those guys like started approaching them and were about to, like, who knows what they're about to do, but they had like weapons out, and like one had a switchblade out. And then I was like, okay, this is a cool way that they can express like their new abilities that are just like burgeoning. And so like one person got to electrocute them. Another kid like has like is powered by Nike, the goddess of victory. So they are using those abilities there. And so I'm trying to create more encounters where it's kind of natural like that. Because but I don't want to kill them. But it just depends on where they're exploring. It has to make sense. If they're trying to do something in the school where there's this heavy security, this doesn't make sense for like a huge kind of like dragon draconic.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, because like whatever is showing up, like even through the mist, like the security team would be like, no, you're not allowed here. If it's like a dragon that looks like a dog, they're not gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like if they go off into a forest and they hit like a tripwire, maybe there's that. A lot of the time, it's really just like the people that they encounter that are going to be harmful to them. And so there's a lot of things where it's like it's very tense, where someone has to resist some type of mind control or takeover. And so I'll introduce stuff like that that's a little bit more subtle that can happen in the school. And so I've done stuff like that where I'm like, hey, you have to roll this because you start to feel this creeping sense, like you're compelled to just keep talking and talking and keep telling your deepest secrets. So I'm gonna need you to roll this, try to resist that.
Mm,
And the players aren't the only rifts. Like there's a lot of people in the school who are also powered by things. Um, so yeah, it's just me kind of just placing those, just kind of seemingly regular people, and then slowly start to reveal their true selves to the players.
okay. Yeah. So just kind of having a very high concentration of rifts at the school kind of gets you that sort of
Yeah,
superpower interaction.
yeah. There are certain places that there's like rumors of like there's an old dormitory up north in the northern section of the map. And if they ever traveled there, there's some stuff there too. But like I'm just like I'm going with them. Like wherever they're going, whatever they're gonna do, I have something prepared. But they don't
Oh,
go
cool.
to the dorm. It wouldn't make sense to like have these poltergeists like I don't know. But yeah. So
Okay.
mhm.
So you mentioned in your survey that you have all sorts of rules for like the different parts of school, like rules for class and rules for what they do on the weekend and
Oh
even
yeah.
rules for relationships between different characters.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm interested in all of those.
Yeah, the rules for a relationship is that if you have, like, simply put, if you have at least three positive interactions with a student, they'll be considered your friend, and it can go deeper. But
Mhm.
the other side of that is they are now your friend, and at some point in the future, they're going to ask for a favor from you, and you have to do it if you want to maintain that relationship. But the benefit from the relationship is that this person is a new connection for you, and you get an added bonus. Like when you're rolling something specific, you can say like, "Hey, my new friend taught me this, and so I'm going to get a bonus to this roll." And
Mm.
so,
Yeah, I've seen other games use it as like you can use your strength stat or whatever, or your relationship stat and add those to a roll,
yeah, yeah.
depending on what's relevant.
The D&D game, Strixhaven, I think. Yeah, I took some ideas from that because Strixhaven is like another like university based, but like
Right, yeah.
D&D. Um, so yeah, I was looking at their relationship rules and then just kind of tweaked it to work for like City of Mist mechanics. But yeah, so that one's gonna be interesting as well. There's a lot of NPCs I have like prepared.
Yeah, okay. That's cool and pretty simple. Like I understood that pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah, that's about it. And but yeah, all the favors that they ask may not always be positive. Or maybe just comes at the most inconvenient time. If they roll poorly, I'll be like, "Hey, he calls you and now you no longer can join the group because this friend needs you to help you with this. Are you going to reject them or are you going to help them out?"
Yeah,
And
and
then
that can be part of like the mixed success stuff is that
yeah, exactly.
the friend calls in a favor.
At the worst time. Yeah.
What about the rules for academics? Like that's something that I feel like some school stories almost like forget is a big part of
You're
school.
this is a school story, right? And yeah, they do that a lot. I took I took some D&D mechanics and like switched it to City of Mist. There is a creator, Tales of Arcane, Tales, and he has another like school setting, and he a lot of people have certain complaints about Strixhaven and the school mechanics, so he created his own. So
Hmm.
I took that, and then so we have the academic week and we have the weekend. We have the academic phase and the weekend phase. And then so the academic phase is really just like a montage that takes like 20 to 30 minutes. And then the rest of the bulk of the session is that weekend phase where all the fun, cool stuff happens, where all the role play encounters happen. Um, and so the academic phase is just like, hey, everybody roll a d20, and we're going to see who goes first. And then each student had chosen like their main focus. And so like one person is like PE is their main focus. And so they'll roll anyway, they'll roll to see how well they do that week in PE.
Hmm.
If they do well, they get a learning point. The learning point goes towards like a final exam every 3 months or something like that. And then that's just real quick for academics. And then we go to the weekend phase for like the main bulk of the story of right now the main story is finding these relics. And if you get these 10 relics, there is like a huge, immense prize, but it gets harder to find these relics. Um, there's all these freshmen are grouping up to find them, and there's challenges and different NPCs are
So this
also
is something
trying.
that like
Yeah,
normal people are aware of for finding the relics.
yeah. It's a school-wide thing. It's only introduced to freshmen, so I gave that idea to them, and I presented it as a hook, and they latched onto it like immediately. So they're very focused on finding these relics. They have the first two.
Okay.
Once you find one, a clue is revealed to the next one. And so that weekend phase is like, okay, so can we do research here? Can we look here? So what do we have to do? I have the session set up for that third relic and how they could find it and look into it more. But yeah, so not each session, but like a weekend phase can actually go for like 2 to 3 sessions. Um,
Wow. Okay.
people like to role play and all that good stuff. So,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
just usually yeah, but yeah, of course, if people are having fun, you do it for as long as you need to.
yeah. So, and then we go back, and then I use Foundry a lot, and there's a cool like calendar module. So I have that to keep track of like which week we're on and what
Neat.
days, what this Friday means and what this week is for. And so I have that ready. Mostly, and that's really helpful actually for all of us because they're always asking like when can we sign up for this? Like when is prom or like this whole bunch of, high school stuff. But yeah, so and then once the weekend phase is over, back to the academic phase, which is 20 to 30 minutes, and that's about it.
So the hunt for the artifacts,
Yeah.
and there's some sort of prize for finding. You said 10?
There are 10, yes, and it
Yeah.
gets progressively harder to find each. And there's more it's going to get more dangerous.
Okay. And
Yeah.
it's like this thing where you have to you find it and then you just take like one from it, or is there like only one of these and the teams are sort of end up competing with each other to get what the other ones have?
Yes, that's it exactly. So there's not multiple of them. So there's only one. And
Okay.
so there is a possibility for like someone to steal someone else's. And so it's kind of like this endless thing of like if you don't have the first, because you need all 10 to present. And so a lot of teams will give up if they can't find the first one. Like some teams won't even say that they have the first one, which is smart. Like you won't say that you have it. And so, it's just like this endless search. And then once you find the first clue and then you realize, oh, the relic's not in there, and then you start to try to figure out like who has that first one. There's potential for like a lot of backstabbing, um, thievery, and yeah, and a lot, creating fake relics and we're putting
Hmm.
it,
Oh,
which has happened. They've already done that.
that's fun.
Yeah, they met a girl who is really tech savvy, and they're like, hey, let's go to the art building and then go to the 3D printer, create the first relic, hide it in the book. So lots of stuff like that to cover their tracks, which is smart on their end. And I have to come up with ways to kind of trip them up.
So what's the prize for getting all 10?
You get a full ride scholarship to the college of your choice, any choice.
Okay.
It's you get like fame and notoriety. The last people to find all 10 was 13 years ago, so it's been a long time. Like it's really hard to find these. You get like your name on a golden plaque in the school, uh, stuff like that. fame and fortune, and the biggest thing, especially for the disco player, is that college scholarship to
Yeah.
anywhere he wants to go.
Okay. So for most of the kids, which I guess don't need a college scholarship, it's kind of just for fun.
Yeah, and I found that they're really protective of the scholarship student, and so that's kind of one of the main motivators. And then there's also rivals who are just like douchebag kids who they just want to rub it in their face as well. And
Mhm.
I'm looking at like their goals and their personalities, and a lot of people are just kind of driven. I was trying to find a way like how can I make this matter to them. A lot of the kids want to prove themselves, and so this is the way of doing that because all the parents want their kids to find this. This is real. This is like a really big deal, especially because it hasn't been achieved in like 13 to 14 years. So that's one of the main, you know, motivators.
Okay.
Mm.
So when I'd initially read about this in your survey, it had sounded kind of like the Fate anime series with like the competition they have there. I mean,
Oh,
admittedly less deadly, but
it's
yeah.
is that really deadly?
I mean, that one's like there's I think 7 contestants that are essentially trying to kill each other, and
Oh snap.
whoever is the last one standing wins.
Okay, so Hunger
But there's
Games
some
as.
like big prize that they're fighting for, and they're all students at the same school, but they kind of don't fight during the day, only at night.
Oh snap. Okay, it sounds like Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. So the prize is exclusive access to a secret club, scholarship, like I said,
Ooh.
special out of town trip of their choosing, all expenses paid for 2 weeks, and a golden plaque in the school's Hall of Fame.
Okay. Oh, that's a lot of cool stuff. I'd go for that.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm waiting for them. They just have the second one. The third one is in their view. It starts to get really interesting the deeper and deeper they go, and that's where all I have some really good idea. I don't want to spoil anything. I just have some really good ideas for the next ones upcoming and some ways to challenge them and really really throw them off their game. I'm not trying to work against them, but I like to throw challenges at them and just see how they go about it.
So you mentioned like sort of villains that
Mm.
like one villain for each year of the school in your survey. Um, what
Ah,
do you have?
yeah.
I'm assuming they're still in the first year at this point.
Yes,
So do you have a plan for that?
this is freshman year, and I try to build out this huge campaign and do something for each year, but I think it's just easier for me to focus on freshman year, and then I like to do a lot of play to find out. So, I have a loose plot, my plot points, but it's not like if they don't go here, don't do this, it's gonna break this story, and I really want to see what they do by the end of the year, and then move on to like making the like sophomore year BBG and go from there.
Hmm.
But yeah, I originally tried to do it for all 4 years, or just make the BBEG at senior year at the climax. But I was like, it's a little bit too grand, so I wanted to just
Uh,
focus on freshman year.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, I guess how's it going with the players so far?
In terms of what?
I guess their engagement with the idea and
Ah.
the places that they're more gravitating towards within the school and the
Mhm.
story that you've designed.
My original idea was to have it more sandboxy and just be like, hey, this is the school, and this is why I created all these like locations within the school and all this stuff because and all these NPCs because I wanted to be more like sandbox, and I was like, you guys can go wherever you want to go and do talk to whoever you need to talk to. And then I was like, okay, I'll just drop this small little hook about relics. But then as soon as I
Hmm.
dropped it, like, they like latched onto it like very quickly, and I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know if they want sandbox as much as it's I think sometimes players think they want sandbox, and then it feels like, oh, okay, I don't have any purpose. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we like in each session? And so I found that it's a little bit easier to have more of like a linear plot and they they like that.
Okay. Yeah. If that's what they're responding to.
Yeah, some type of goals to have, something to look forward to, something to plan. Um, I found that they like that a lot more than just like the free reign to do whatever. So yeah, I dropped a little hook about, and I thought it was just like a this was like a small little announcement, like, hey, there's this relics competition, um, and then they were like, oh, dang, we got to group up and like do this, and so they're very, very much interested in it, and they're all players who are like very like Sherlock Holmes and like figuring all this out, and what does this? Because each clue is like a specific encoded message, and they're trying to break it apart. So I found that they rather have like a more linear story. Um, and I that doesn't mean it's like railroaded though on my part. It's still a
Hmm.
lot of like play to find out. So I'll have like little beats here and there. But other than that, it's mostly just like you guys have the plot now. And so how
Yeah.
do you want to how do you want to move forward?
With 10 scavenger items to find, like it feels like you can't really railroad that. Like they could go off for item number 7 instead of number 3. And
Well, oh, okay. I guess in that case, because each once you find a relic, it reveals the clue for the next one.
but couldn't you try and get the clues from other teams, I guess?
Oh, you know what? I don't think so because you do need those, if this makes sense, you'd need the clues from that you get from the relic in order to find one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how does someone like follow on? Like, isn't it just like the first person that finds the first one then just controls the rest of them, sort of?
Yes. And so if I'm understanding correctly, yes. So that first one, super easy to get.
Hmm.
When it's announced, like, hey, there's this relic competition, the first clue is given out to everybody. And it's like whoever gets it first. And so there probably are some NPCs who have figured it out. I don't know if they figured out that there's a fake in there yet, but that would be interesting because the players found the first one and then they replaced it with a fake. But yeah, that's all I'll say. That other kids
Okay.
are looking for it and there are things happening in the background. Yeah.
Well, I feel like we kind of reached the limit of what we can talk about without spoilers.
Oh yeah.
Is there
Oh yeah.
is there anything else that you wanted to bring up about the campaign or the creation process you've had for it?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think I agree with you that we covered a lot. I think I had a lot of fun. I think it informed me on the things that are important if I was going to do like create another like mini setting within a setting. Learning about what I had fun with creating and what the players are engaging with and not engaging with. But like they don't care about the annual expenses of the academy, but for some reason it helps me. So I think like, hey, if it helps you it's for some reason, then it's not time wasted. But yeah, yeah, I had a good time overall making this little mini setting and then the little hook of the relics and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
Hmm.
Um, well, I always ask people if they have any advice for other DMs.
Oh,
And I guess you're still kind of new in your GM journey, so do you have any like pieces of advice that you've taken in that feel like have been really useful for you?
um, yes, I would say you don't have to start with this grand world. I would say, like, I've heard a lot of advice that's like start where you're at. So like
Hmm.
they're mostly at the academy and the the town that the academy's in. So they'll go into the town proper, and then there's also like the Chicago-like city, Century City that they can drive into, like take the 35-minute drive. So those are like the three main locations, and I don't need to like build out bigger than that. And I have I've noticed that like the players aren't really asking about that. And I could ask them, but like that's not what they're interested in. They're interested in what's happening to them currently where they're at. And so I've learned that that's okay. Like I don't have to have this big like cos cosmic universe planned and ready and have this huge continent, and inside the continent are countries, and then inside the countries are cities, and like I really just went really granular with the stuff that I knew was important and what I knew I was going to important to me, and knew we were going to use. And so I knew there's going to be a lot of NPCs. I knew that there's going to be this type of competition and this certain school culture. And so, yeah, I would say stick to what is important for you as the GM and what you think is going to be important for the players, and just have that prepped and ready.
Yeah, like you said, you're basing this in 2030 in
Yeah.
the real world, and there's all sorts of like, okay, what happened to Israel Palestine? What happened in France and Alaska, and all these other questions that are completely
Yeah.
irrelevant.
Like what happened to that one Australian breakdancer who ruined breakdancing at the Olympics?
Right, right. Like the only relevant thing I could think of maybe would be who is the governor of Illinois because you're in Illinois, right?
Right. I guess it is Illinois. A lot of the NPCs I create personally. So I don't use like real world people, but I really just
Uh-huh,
it's in Illinois, but like there's no place called Century City in Illinois.
uh-huh, right.
So
Well, it's just a stand-in for Chicago, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah. So and then this city here, or the town, the affluent town is Riverside Grove, Illinois. So it's all like made that up and made up, did some um not research, but I just like created that very like affluent like town on the edge of Century City.
yeah,
Yeah, so that would be my advice. You don't need some like these huge unless you want to, unless like you like doing that. Um, but if you're short on time and you want to get into the game quicker, create something simple that you need. Yeah.
yeah. And then you can sort of expand on it in the way that your players want, like with the scavenger.
Yeah, technically I don't even need Century City. Like, but if they were ever like, hey, is there like a larger city where I can find this because it's not in Riverside Grove? And I'll be like, yeah, there is. There is.
I don't know, they want to leave on the weekend to go to like a comic book convention or something.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'll just be like, yes, there is, and I'll let you know more next week.
Right, yes, I've definitely used that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, that would be my advice and the stuff that I've learned as well and taken in.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Maia. It's been really good talking with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
That was Maia and her actual play campaign of City of the Mist called Pinehurst Academy. If you'd like to check it out, there's some links in the episode description to Maia's different podcast things as well as to the Pinehurst playlist on YouTube. It's a bit too much to spell out, so I'm not going to give you the link in the actual audio here. And I also recorded a little bit more with Maia that I thought was interesting, so I've included a little bit more here that you can listen to. And as always, thank you for listening.
How old is your podcast?
Coming up on 2 years
2 years?
almost. Yeah.
Okay. How is it doing in your opinion? Uh,
No, I've
uh,
liked doing it. It's more just been a fun thing for me.
cool, cool, cool.
And I don't know if nobody was listening to it, then yeah, I might not continue. But having a small audience is cool.
Yeah.
The other cool thing is like I made a Discord server for people that are in it, and having people there come and discuss their campaigns occasionally is neat.
Oh, you have a server for this podcast?
Hmm. Yeah,
Oh, cool, cool.
yeah. One of the guys that was on last year or 2 years ago, something like that.
Hmm.
He launched a Kickstarter for like his a sort of supplement book he was doing for D&D that has now been funded, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Other people are talking about like trying to get something together like that and asking him for advice. That's just like the most recent like, conversation in the channel.
Is it for D&D though?
His supplement, yes, it
Yeah. Okay. That helps, I guess. For those like indie TTRPGs, I imagine it's a lot harder.
was. Yeah, yeah. It's a supplement for non D&D TTRPGs. I feel like you're probably functioning more on like a tip model for release instead of a Kickstarter model.
Oh yeah, 100%. Just be like, here's my Ko-fi link, or buy me a coffee or something.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, he's got enough funding that he's doing a larger print run. He's going to be able to sell it to some local game shops.
What is it called? Maybe because it's on Kickstarter. Might have heard of it.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's called the Amethyst Dragon's Horde of Everything.
Okay.